Hi everyone and welcome to UBS Trending. I'm your host, Wendy Mock. Financial health checkups can help you make sure your portfolio and your plan reflect life's latest changes. These so-called seasons of planning conversations should be a part of your routine as a complement to the account review conversations that you usually have with a financial advisor. The season we'll be discussing today is winter. Joining me now are Ainsley Carbone and Justin Waring from the UBS Chief Investment Office. Welcome, Ainsley. Welcome, Justin. So, Justin, it's February. It's still pretty cold outside. We just had snow this weekend, so it seems appropriate that we're talking about winter. But it's not about the weather. Tell us about the intent behind the Seasons of Planning series and what it means in the context of financial planning and what planning for winter means.
Thanks for having us, Wendy. Whenever we're meeting with our financial advisor, there's obviously a lot of very urgent and interesting things to talk about. For example, what's going on in our portfolios recently, what's our outlook for financial markets, what's going on with inflation. And in the excitement of dealing with these urgent items, it's often easy to overlook important items that are not urgent. So the purpose behind our Seasons of Planning checklist is to help to make important checkups a natural part of your routine with your financial advisor so that we're checking off the most important decisions throughout the year. So for winter, we have a big focus on spending updates, on assessing our income taxes, and on getting an idea about our retirement income outlook. And so these are things that we can kind of check off the list as a complement to the normal performance review, any investment changes that we need to make, part of the conversation.
And as part of the conversation, what are the important elements to look at? And why is it important to review last year's spending as you prepare for this year?
Well, I do think, when it comes to trying to make sure that we have enough cash and safe assets set aside to fund our short-term spending, which is something we call the liquidity strategy in the context of our liquidity, longevity, and legacy framework, it's important for us to try to figure out how much spending we're going to have. And a good place to start usually is last year's spending. So how did our spending last year differ from our expectations at the beginning of the year? And then it's a good way to start the conversation about how will this year's spending be different than last year's spending. And so obviously with inflation, we've seen a large rise in the cost of goods and services that we consume. And in addition, there's been a real disruption to our lives for several years now from COVID-19. As the disease starts to get under control, some postponed spending might be brought forward into 2022. And it's important that you set aside funds for any delayed vacations or any medical expenses that you had deferred because you were uncomfortable going to the hospital, things like that. Want to make sure that we have funds set aside for those. And then, obviously these insights about changes from last year will help us build and maintain a liquidity strategy that gives us the confidence that we're going to be able to meet our short-term goals while also keeping our longer-term investments growing no matter what markets have in store for us. Direct deposits and automatic investing strategies are also really helpful because they're going to help us save our paychecks while bypassing the temptation to spend those dollars. So making sure that we have a savings plan in addition to our spending plan. And when it comes to the savings plan, there are a lot of different options for where to invest your savings. You've got IRAs and 401ks and HSAs and 529 accounts. There's so many different options. So we've developed our savings waterfall, which can help you to make sense of all these different choices and help you prioritize your savings in a way that helps you maximize the after-tax growth potential of your dollars that are going into the market.
And Ainsley, tax time is right around the corner. What should investors be thinking about and what should investors keep in mind as they file this season?
Well, first, if you are looking to reduce your income tax liability, we suggest considering adding to tax advantage accounts such as IRAs or HSAs. And you can actually do so you may be able to do so until April 15th of 2022 and have it count towards the 2021 tax year. Now, if you're going to get a tax refund, the IRS can distribute your refund up to 3 different accounts. So we suggest using the savings waterfall worksheet, which is what Justin was referring to earlier. You can use that so that you can put your refund to work right away, either to an emergency fund or towards another financial goal in another investment account. Lastly, if you end up with a tax bill and you're not able to have that cash on hand to pay it today, you have two options. First one being you could borrow to pay the bill. Second, you could sell out of your portfolio. However, that would probably trigger some capital gain taxes, and you would also miss out on potential market returns. So if you have access to a borrowing facility in your liquidity strategy, then we suggest possibly looking at tapping that facility, because what it can do for you is that you're able to it allows you to pay that tax bill today, and you're not going to have to sacrifice growth potential in your investment portfolio that's actually earmarked for long-term goals such as retirement and healthcare.
And in terms of savings, what are ways that investors can boost their savings now?
So we see about 3 ways that you can boost your savings. First, automate savings and investing strategies. Those are that's what Justin was talking about earlier with that savings waterfall worksheet. Because if you can automate your savings, just like Justin said, you're able to set aside a portion of your paycheck and bypass that impulse to buy things, because we like that immediate gratification. I know I do. I'm sure everyone
Yes.
kind of does. Second one, put your refund to work as soon as possible. You can use the savings waterfall worksheet so that, again, you're automating your savings and investing strategies. Third, review your retirement income. So as you're preparing, or if you're preparing for retirement, you want to take stock of the different income sources that you have, such as Social Security, pensions, annuities. And what this does for you is, if you can go through this process, it's going to allow you to build a liquidity strategy that is sized appropriately to help you meet your goals today, so it can maintain your lifestyle in the absence of a paycheck. And what this does for you is that it then allows you to keep your assets in your longevity strategy invested, and it's protected from short-term market volatility. And then, of course, as you're thinking about all these action items, it's really important to make sure that you're speaking with your financial advisor, because they can help make sure that you're making all these decisions within the context of your financial plan.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's really important to be proactive and really think through your plan for the year, and really to speak with your financial advisor. What great advice for planning for 2022. Thank you, Ainsley, and thank you for Justin on those tips about how to boost your savings, what to consider for tax planning, and overall what to speak with your financial advisor about going into 2022.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, great to be here.
And as you think about these next steps, make sure to discuss with your financial advisor to ensure you're making decisions within the context of your financial plan. Thank you for joining. And for more information from the Chief Investment Office, visit ubs.com/CIO. And for more information overall, visit ubs.com/views. Make sure to follow UBS on social media. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And check out past episodes of UBS Trending episodes on demand. As always, if you have any questions about your portfolio, please speak with a financial advisor. Until next time, I'm Wendy Mock. Have a great day, and remember to keep your eyes on what's trending.